So yeah, I'm Joe Fay, Group Editor of the Register. You all know the Register, hopefully? Yeah, good, so I don't have to do that bit. Where I started, 1991, started covering technology. The reason Damon, I think, asked me here is because I'm sure some of you will want to deal with journalists at some point as your great ideas come to fruition. I guess I'm here to explain what to expect, which is really not very much. So I started 1991, Personal Computer Magazine, which is corporate PC title, 120,000 circulation, you know, pretty good at the time. Big, fat, thick, glossy thing, real kitten killer. VNU, interesting company, 500 employees at the building, average age 26. This is all tech magazines it did. There must have been 15 or 20 in there. There are about 150 PCs in there. That was the sort of thing I was lucky to have to write about PCs on. Because it's a publishing company, they're not going to waste money on PCs for the journalists, or indeed journalists, floppy disks. Remember them? I bet some of you know. That's what copy used to come in on and how it used to get around the office. Production, they had Macs, the art editors, or at least the two on the magazine I was on. Those only came in after a strike. The journalists went on strike for about 9 months. The guy who led the strike was a good mate of mine. So most of the PCs were borrowed, like review kit that we sort of get in from people and never give back. Hopefully the companies would go bust and that way we could keep it for a while. And because we were into the tech, we'd have betas, new version of Windows or whatever, so everything was crashing all the time anyway. Say chucking a floppy around, that was our network. Computing magazine, which I'm sure some of you would know quite well. You probably saw many jobs through there. Certainly 1992, they were still using typewriters. I think PC Week were still doing all their art on paste up, like bits of board. I think they used to go to press on a Friday and they'd all be stained off their tips. The journalists would be pissed, the art people would just solvent abuse type stuff, all spraying out. But once we had a next computer came in our office, all we could do was turn it on. We had no idea what to do with it. It sat there for about 2 months. We're worth a fortune now. I then went to Microscope magazine, which some of you may have heard of. Dennis Publishing, they did PC Pro. They still do PC Pro and all the rest. But the magazine I was on, it covered the channel, PC dealers, distributors. We were all completely tech ignorant because it was just all about margin. I was the most techie person there because apparently I knew my way around a motherboard, which I knew enough to steal memory chips if I needed to, which is a big thing at the time. But 9,500 issues a week printed, that's the circulation list, and it's turning over something like £3.5 million a year, which was enough for Felix Dennis to launch Maxim magazine, or well, I'll skip all that. That's what we used there because Felix owned Mac Warehouse. We had the internet, or at least Kix and CompuServe, and 56k modem. Then 97, we got actual internet access, email, and a website you can update once a month, something like that, which is great for a weekly magazine. 2000, I moved to ComputerWire, which had just got a load of venture capital money. Anyone remember ComputerWire? Computergram, Unigram? Yeah,
He was the reader.
Exactly. Yeah. You were probably paying about 5,000 a year for that.
Company was.
Yeah, exactly. But they sent to San Francisco, which is, I think that was the same picture someone used earlier on. Just as the .com bubble burst. So,
that was me.
yeah, exactly. That was our one reader. That's why the company went bust. Hodgepodge Windows 98 PCs. It was, writing about very high-end stuff. But, we just had a load of crap that we were using. Content management system was based on Lotus Notes, a very old version of Lotus Notes. I had a company mobile, just one, in the whole San Francisco bureau, but it got cut off and the company didn't pay the bill. I won't go into the bit about having to shift all the network out of the office when the bailiffs came round. Then I went to the register, XP-based PCs in 2005, so that was in advance. We moved to Macs, we're all hosted in the cloud, everything's mainly done on the cloud at the Reg. My mobile has never been cut off since I've been there for 11 years. So, I think that illustrates that a lot of journalists who are writing about technology aren't using much in the way of technology. Some tech journalists are very, very techy, but they're not always very good writers, and they become very dogmatic about what it is that they like. So, bubbles burst, you know, you're going to be telling companies you've got the new big thing and, you know, Internet of Things, new wave and everything like that. Some journalists will go crazy with that. Possibly the ones who've not been covering the industry for very long. Others won't want to go near it at all because they have been covering the industry a long time and they're sort of vested in how things are. It's hard. It's hard to learn new stuff when you're a journalist. It's, you know, it means a lot of going out, a lot of time in pubs, which is time I could be spending with Damon in the pub. So I try and avoid that. Relationships matter. Very few people would actually get me in front of an audience to speak to them. Damon persuaded me.
Well, I got photos, remember?
Well, that's true, and I think you asked me after about 4 pints. There are some really smart people out there. They tend not to work on magazines or websites, so I have to talk about magazines. And smart people can do very well if they work hard, if they're well connected, they've got piles of cash. Depends who you're working for though. I mean, they can also burn through piles of cash as well. As I say, be very dogmatic, do all the bad things that journalists do. I suppose these are the most important things in a way that we've learned. Technology advances in very mysterious ways. I've never seen an actual paradigm shift. There's been things that I've thought were never going to happen. People are always saying it's 5 years ago, and you know, suddenly we really did have 3G. There's been other even weirder stuff that's happened. I mean, Google and the ads and everything like that. You know, when everyone was losing money around 2000 because there's no decent ads platform. The Reg, you know, nearly went bust a couple of times as well, but we had a sugar daddy, luckily. So we kept on going. So like I say, some things, there's always the other side of the hill, and you're over the hill, and you're sort of still writing about technology 20 years on, and all the other people you wrote with are also still writing about it, or in PR. Maybe one or two of them actually looked at the stuff and thought, oh, hang on, there's a business here. There's 2 people who I know who sort of became millionaires from being a journalist out of technology. They were both really weird. Don't look at things like an engineer, and that's, I mean, Google, that's the classic example there. Obviously, doing what you're doing, I guess you're very engineering focused. I've known a lot of people who work at Google. Some of them are really good fun, but they do tend to sort of get chipped when they go in and watch the Kool-Aid topping up, and they just don't, or they screw up when they don't think about how non-engineering people look at the world. I saw a guy who started Google Maps tell an audience of German journalists, you need to trust us. Yeah, we screwed up coming around and photographing your houses, but how are we to know that Germans have a thing about privacy and all this Stasi stuff and everything? You know, we're engineers. And it's like, no, you're fucking Google. You've got the world's information. You know, all that sort of thing. Corporate memory is important. You know, as journalists, I have younger journalists talking about new stuff, and it's like, well, we've seen that model before, and it's screwed up before. So, you know, let's not get too carried away. That's good or bad, depending on your way, the way you look at it. Bill Gates has no memory for faces, you know, and I know this because my first week on the first magazine I was on, I was sent out to interview Bill Gates. You know, he just turned up because they had a deal with ICL. Do you remember them? Yeah, one person remembers ICL. You know, and that was before he sort of took off. I bumped into him 3 or 4 times in toilets at conferences and all sorts. He never remembered my name again. So hopefully some of that will be a bit useful. Apologies for bowling through, but I saw I've timed out already.
No, that's brilliant.
And my beer is getting warm.
And I think your really pertinent point in the middle of that semi-last slide was, and it's going to come up in our workshop,
is not to think of the world as an engineering problem, because the people using it are not engineers.
And people writing about it certainly are.
and they're not they certainly
They'd be
aren't.
doing something much more lucrative if they were. Or they're crap engineers. I can think of a couple. So,
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Any
for
questions?
Joe? Oh, I think I told them everything.
Brilliant.
So,
Right.
all right, thank you, Joe.
Good.
Thank you
Cheers.
very much.